Hey guys, it's Mark back here for Jazz Guitar Lessons. And in this short mini podcast, a mini capsule, as we would say in French, I want to address trusting the process. Welcome to Jazz Guitar Lessons, where we help guitarists learn jazz faster, express themselves more fluently, and have fun along the way. My name is Mark, and if you're looking to learn jazz, form better practice habits, and especially if you enjoy a French accent, make sure to subscribe. And this is a biggie. It's a very significant thing for me personally, because you may relate to this, or you may be at the opposite end of the spectrum. When I have a plan and I work on it, I will begin to doubt myself, especially if I don't see the results that are expected. I don't see the fruit of my labor immediately. So say I have a practice plan and I go back in time. Maybe I'm 23 years old, full of hope, right? Wide-eyed, as you'd say. And I'm learning these standards. I'm learning this language. I'm getting better at my instrument. I get to play with better and better musician. I'm getting an education. I go out to jams. I go out to see um, concerts and whatever, right? Uh, my kind of cognition will lend me to doubt, to have like immense faith in a process and maybe run it for 1 week or 2 weeks and 3 weeks. And when the things don't pan out the way I think they should, in the timing that I think they should, then I sort of obsess and doubt and see if I can review the plan. So this is just sort of a note. I would say this podcast is almost like a note to self. Remember, Mark, remember, craft a plan. If it's been done in an intelligent fashion, you should really stick to it. And also, if it doesn't pan out, sometimes it's too early to change the plan. So the best thing to do is to run the same plan for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and then to reassess. And tweaking or reorienting ever so slightly is much easier than doing a 180, because that's my kind, like doing all the way in one direction with almost blind faith, and then going like, nope, I'm scared it's not really working. Then I go backwards. So my older me would inform my younger me to say, well, you could just reorient a few degrees. You're on a map, you're in a compass, you're in the forest. How about 5 degrees south? Just a little bit, just a tiny bit, because what you've been doing already works. So recognizing what works and recognizing that I have a plan and this plan has been designed. If there's no plan, I would say, well, for sure, sit down and make one. Or if I fell off the wagon, um, it would be good to get back to a plan or design one and execute on it, taking notes. Uh, I've noticed in my years of teaching that there's probably two extremes of people, which I just described. One extreme for me would be to have a plan, spend quite a bit of time figuring it out and making sure that my routine is set up and that I know what I have to do, and then execute. But one kind of people like me would be starting to doubt it and doing, say, obsessive assessments or reviews of that plan. And I think the opposite end of this whole spectrum would be people that don't do that, or one that don't have a plan at all. Let's say you have one, and you don't necessarily reassess where it's going and following it more blindly. I think neither extremes are good. I think there's a balance somewhere in the middle. And I would invite people on that are not like me, like on the opposite end of the spectrum, to gain this habit of self assessment and self review. It may mean to have audio and video recordings of yourself at precise points in time, maybe once a week or twice a month or whatever. It may mean having a practice log that at least you understand what you wrote down. I practiced this, etc. It could mean reviewing that log. It could be reviewing the plan, almost as if you sit down with yourself and you go, I'm your coach now. I'm your private instructor. I'm going to devise a plan. That helps tremendously, especially if you haven't done it. And one thing I noticed from one of my students, Alan, recently, is that there's been a dip in his practice time for several life reasons, like life and career, and people move or have grandchildren, and all sorts of health issues can happen to you or to loved ones, or there's the passing away of like close family members. For instance, by the way, this is an anniversary. My father, who passed, would have been 80 years old today, the time I'm shooting this podcast. Interesting. But life happens. And what I observed with Alan, and what I could totally tip my hat to and go like tap on the back, man, this is great. Alan said before my dip, I sounded like this, and I was practicing these kinds of deals, like this kind of scale exercise, this kind of tune, and I had this much time investment. So he literally went back in the archives and observes his own playing and go, oh, well, if I want to sound like that again, I know what I have to do. I've already done it. So the whole, like to wrap up this entire podcast and to finish it here, to keep it short in the spirit of keeping it short, I would say trust in the process is a really crucial part of developing as a player, whether you're a guitarist or sax player or piano player, or even it would matter for any other kinds of hard endeavors. Like it takes time to become an engineer, right? Or it takes time to become an Olympic athlete. Even if I just say I want to try to play chess and have a good chess rating, it will take the time it needs. And the day to day is less relevant than we think. So what takes over literally is the compound effect of the multiple days of the months and years that are invested. I have several thoughts that are just springing to mind because, you know, in French we say verbomoteur. So there's a tendency for me to try to analyze and put overtly big importance on today's practice session. If I feel tired, if I don't have enough time, I only have half an hour. I don't have, an hour or an hour and a half. Or, my fingers are sore, or it would be like right now for me, it's a workout. No, I can't work out because I had lunch 35 minutes ago. I can't because I didn't have a night of sleep. I'm not going to beat my previous record, so I can't. So often for me, I would try to make up the perfect conditions, the perfect practice session, and overemphasize the day, like the one day of practice today, right? And in the end, that's a drop in the ocean. That's like one grain of sand in the whole spectrum of practice. If I keep practicing and have average practice sessions, sometimes I'll be over the average. Like I'll be at 60% capacity. Sometimes I'll be at 40% capacity. Some days, not a lot by design, by statistically. Some days will be 95%. Wow, that was like the best practice session I had in my life. But that matters less in the grand scheme of things than 5 years of consistently showing up. I can guarantee that. So trust in the process. Hey everyone, just a quick break here. If you're loving this episode and you want to elevate your own jazz guitar skills, reach out to us. We've guided thousands of guitarists in becoming accomplished jazzers beyond their wildest dreams. So check the link in the description or visit jazzguitarlessons.net to get started today. Okay, now back to the episode. I have one I use on Jazz Guitar Lessons, which you can find online, jazzguitarlessons.net/process. It's a 40-page document. I wrote it like, hey, this is how I do it. This is how I've done it with students. This is how you guys should do it. And it's how to tackle standards and to divide and conquer. If that process is down, it's relatively easy, or I would say not easy. It's simple to go back and go, oh, this is the thing I'm missing. I haven't done this, or I haven't done this to a high level enough. I haven't comped with my Charlestons enough. I haven't resolved on my thirds. I haven't practiced my scales. It's simple. It's not always easy, because what I will do personally is the whole sabotage. I will start to doubt that this process is good, and I will assume that I've done everything I could following the process, while maybe I haven't really followed it to a T. And now, I need a finger to point somewhere because clearly things are not working. So I might as well just, shoot the messenger. But I can tell you, from doing things in my own personal life at the height of my 40 years old Canadian little French mark, I have done things that were pretty challenging, and systematically it's the sticking to the same plan and coming back over and over again and saying, I had a bad past 2 weeks streak. Doesn't matter. What matters today, get back on the wagon. And statistically, these 2 weeks will be completely dissolved in your whole ocean of practice sessions. So on that note, I hope that was motivating. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions. And also, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening to this in a podcast platform, please make sure to rate this 5-star, to leave comments. It really helps knowing what content performs better, what kind of things you guys want to hear about. All right, I'll see you next time. Take care.